My mom said I was her rock but planned to leave all to my golden child brother, so I walked away. And what happened next shook the whole family. I'm the oldest kid of divorced parents, and my dad, he's got his new life now, remarried and off with a whole new family. My mom, she stayed single ever since they split, and she's not the type to ask for help from anyone but family, specifically me. She lives in a retirement community where she can be independent, but every time something goes wrong, guess who she calls first? Living close by, I'd probably have no issue popping over, but here's the thing, I live hours away. It's not like I can just swing by and lend a hand whenever she needs it. Every time she needs me, I have to book a flight, rent a car, and figure out a way to be away from my own family and work for a few days. But even knowing all that, every time she calls, I show up, no questions asked. Now, I do have a younger brother. He lives right in the same city as her, barely 10 minutes away, but does he help? Not really. He's around, sure, but only when he needs something from her, usually money. He stops by, does a few small favors, and when he's gotten what he needs, he's gone again. It's a routine I've seen so many times that I almost know his schedule with her better than he does. And even when he's there, I'm still the first person she calls if anything major happens. So there I am, constantly juggling my own life with the next call from my mom. It's become so common that my wife's already predicting what will happen next. Mom will need something, my brother will be busy, and I'll have to drop everything to go help. And you know, it's my mom, so I can't say no. I mean, who else is going to help her? It's not like she's going to ask my brother to suddenly grow up and take some responsibility. Last month, for instance, she had a minor car accident, nothing too serious, but she twisted her ankle, and she's not exactly young. She calls me, all worried and shaken up, asking if there's any way I can come down. So I pack up my things, book a last-minute flight, and head down. When I get there, I help her with everything, groceries, doctor appointments, you name it. She's grateful, of course, and it feels good to be there for her, but I can't help but notice that she's still got that soft spot for my brother. Every time he comes up in conversation, she talks about him like he's some sort of hero, even though he barely shows up. So, as usual, I just brush it off. I tell myself, well, that's just how it is. I'm the one she calls because she trusts me, and my brother's the one she gushes about because, honestly, I don't know. Maybe she thinks he needs it more, maybe she feels bad for him. Either way, it's always the same, I'm the one doing everything, and he's the one getting the praise. One evening, I met her at her place, just finishing up cleaning the kitchen after making her dinner, when my phone rings. It's my wife, checking in on how things are going. She knows the drill at this point. We talk for a bit, and she can tell I'm getting frustrated. You know, you don't have to be the one doing everything, right? She says. Maybe it's time to let your brother take some responsibility. I want to believe that's possible, but I know it's just not realistic. I've tried talking to my mom about it before, suggesting that maybe my brother could handle some of these things, but she always has an excuse. Oh, he's got so much going on, she'll say, or he's just not as responsible as you. Every time, it's like she's convinced that he can't handle the pressure, so it has to be me. And I'll admit, there's a part of me that feels good about being the one she relies on. It's nice to feel needed, even if it means constantly putting my life on hold. But then there's this other part, the part that's just tired of missing out on my own family's life, tired of burning through my savings to pay for all these last-minute trips, and tired of pretending that it doesn't bother me when my brother gets away with doing so little. Then, right on cue, my brother shows up. He didn't come to the hospital when she had the accident, didn't check in while she was at the doctor, but here he is, stopping by now that she's back home and settled. He strolls in, acts like he's just here out of concern, but I know better. Within minutes, he's hinting at some financial trouble he's been having and how he could use a bit of help. And she falls for it every single time. My mom doesn't hesitate, she reaches into her purse, pulls out a couple of bills, and hands them over like it's nothing. I'm standing there, watching this whole thing go down, and I can feel myself getting angry, not even because of the money, I mean, it's her money, she can do whatever she wants with it, but because it's just so predictable. I'm the one who flew across the country to help her, and he's the one getting rewarded. After he leaves, I try to bring it up with her gently, but she just brushes it off. He's had a hard time lately, she says. He's just figuring things out. I don't push it, I just nod, pretending to understand, and go back to cleaning up the dishes. And it's not that I want her to cut him off or anything, he's her son too, and if he needs help, fine. But it's this feeling that no matter what I do, I'll always just be the one who does the work, and he'll always be the one who gets the praise. Before I leave that night, I make sure she's got everything she needs. I double-check the fridge, stock her up on groceries, and remind her to take her meds. She thanks me, gives me a hug, and I feel that familiar guilt mixed with pride because, even though it's exhausting, I know I'll keep doing it. I don't know how to be anything but the good son, the one who's always there to help, no matter how inconvenient it is. But there's this part of me that wonders if she'll ever really see me as more than just the reliable one. After that last visit, I head back home, figuring I'll be able to settle back into my own life for a bit. But of course, it doesn't take long before the next call comes. My mom's voice is on the line, and she sounds stressed. Turns out my brother's visit drained her bank account again. She's calling me, saying she's in a bit of a pinch until her next pension check comes in. This is becoming a pattern. Every time he's around, it's the same deal. He stops by, sweet talks her, gets whatever cash he needs, and takes off. And I can't even say anything about it without her defending him, saying, oh, he just needed a little help, or he's trying his best. And every single time, she leans on me to pick up the slack afterward. I know it's her money, and she's free to do whatever she wants with it, but it's just frustrating to watch. I mean, here I am, doing everything I can to make sure she's okay, and yet I'm the one covering for him. He's not putting in the same effort, yet she doesn't see anything wrong with the whole situation. So I transfer her some money, enough to keep her going for a bit, and yeah, I feel bad about it because this is money that could go toward my own family, my own kids, or even just something for myself. But what am I supposed to do? Let her struggle? I can't. I know I'll keep helping her, even if it leaves me stretched thin, because, honestly, I don't know how to be anything but the reliable one. A few days later, I call her to check in, just to see how she's doing. She sounds better, telling me about her week, about how she's managing things. I'm glad she's doing okay, but then she starts talking about my brother again. She mentions how he stopped by, hung up a few pictures for her, and brightened her day. I'm just standing there with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to her go on and on about him like he's some kind of saint. Part of me wants to laugh because the guy is barely doing the bare minimum, and yet he's treated like a hero for it. Meanwhile, I'm the one covering bills, making trips, arranging her medical stuff, and what do I get? A quick, thank you and back to talking about him. So I decide to try bringing it up. I ask her, Mom, don't you think maybe he could do a little more? He's right there, and he could help with the day-to-day stuff instead of just popping in when he feels like it. She goes quiet for a second, then sighs and says, you know, he's just not as reliable as you. I can't count on him the same way, but I'm so grateful I have you to depend on. It's like a slap and a hug at the same time. Sure, she trusts me more, but she's still not expecting him to step up. I don't argue with her, it's not worth it. I just say, yeah, I get it, and change the subject. But inside, I feel this mix of frustration and resignation, like I'm stuck in a role I didn't exactly sign up for. And the thing that really gets to me, I know that the next time my brother needs money, she'll give it to him without a second thought, and then she'll call me to help when she's stretched thin. A couple of weeks pass, and just as I'm settling back into my own routine, she calls again. She needs help with some medical bills that insurance won't cover, and she's worried she won't be able to make it through the month. I ask her if my brother's pitched in, even knowing what her answer will be. Oh, he's got his own struggles right now, she says. He's trying to find a better job, which, let's be real, is her way of saying that he hasn't done a thing. I take a deep breath and tell her, all right, I'll help you out again. She thanks me, and I can hear the relief in her voice, which, honestly, makes it worth it, even if I'm grumbling a little inside. I'm not angry at her, really, it's not her fault that my brother's always taking advantage of her kindness. And I guess, in her mind, she thinks he'll grow out of it eventually. But that's the part that bugs me the most. She's waiting for him to turn into someone who's reliable, someone like, well, me. But I know it's never going to happen, at least not as long as she keeps bailing him out. After that call, I go to my wife, who's been watching all of this unfold with that mix of understanding and frustration that only she could manage. I tell her what happened, and she just sighs. You know, she'll never stop helping him, she says, and you'll never stop helping her. She's right, of course. I'm stuck in this cycle where I can't say no because if I don't help, I know she'll be the one who suffers. And my brother, he's got it all figured out. He knows she'll give him whatever he wants, and if he leaves her broke, I'll be the one to step in. It's strange, really, how different the two of us turned out. He's just a couple of years younger than me, but the gap between us feels like a lifetime. I work hard, have a family of my own, and take pride in doing things the right way. Meanwhile, he's floating through life, relying on our mom to keep him afloat, and somehow, she still sees him as this struggling kid who just needs a little help. I start thinking back to all the times I've come through for her, all the sacrifices I've made over the years. I've missed work deadlines, burned through my vacation days, skipped out on family events just to be there when she needed me. And I don't regret it. I love my mom, and I know she appreciates it, even if she doesn't say it as much as I'd like. But there's this nagging feeling, this question that keeps popping up in the back of my mind. Does she even see the difference between us? Does she understand what I've done for her, or is she just too blinded by her soft spot for him? I try to shake off the thought, convincing myself it doesn't matter. She's my mom, and if she needs me, I'll be there. It's as simple as that. But as the weeks go by, that thought keeps creeping back, and I start wondering if this will ever change. A couple of weeks go by, and I'm starting to think maybe things will calm down a bit, but as always, the peace doesn't last. I get another call from my mom, and right off the bat, I can tell she's stressed. She's talking in that worried tone she always uses when she's about to ask me for something. Sure enough, she mentions that she's running low on cash again. She doesn't come right out and say it, but it's clear my brother's been by recently. It's almost like clockwork at this point. He shows up, drains her wallet, and leaves her in a bind, and then I get the call. So I'm listening to her go on about how she feels bad asking and how she knows it's a lot to keep leaning on me, but then she says, "I know I can trust you. You're so dependable. You've always been there when I needed you." I don't know if she's trying to guilt trip me or if she genuinely believes that I'll always be there to pick up the pieces, but either way, I give in again. I don't know why, but this time, it hits differently. I'm sitting there, looking at my bank app as I transfer some money over to her, and there's this feeling of frustration that I can't shake. It's not even the money itself. It's not like I'm broke. But it's the principle of it. I'm putting my hard-earned money toward fixing her problems while my brother takes from her with zero accountability. After I send the money, I decide to give her a call. I'm trying to keep my tone light, not wanting to sound like I'm accusing her of anything, but I feel like I need to get something off my chest. "Mom," I say, "I've been thinking. Maybe you could talk to him, let him know that he needs to be a bit more careful with what he's asking from you. You're on a fixed income, and it's tough for you to keep covering for him, right?" She pauses, then lets out this sigh, like I just don't get it. "Oh, he's just going through a hard time right now," she says. "He's trying his best, really, he just needs a little help." I can feel my frustration building, but I try to keep my cool. "Yeah, but Mom, it's like every other week, you're telling me you're running low because of him. I'm just saying, maybe you could set some boundaries, Another pause, then she starts in with her classic line, "You don't understand. He's not as strong as you. He needs more support." And then she adds, almost like she's saying it as a compliment, "I don't have to worry about you because you're so responsible, but he's just not like that." I don't even know how to respond to that. It's like she's seeing him through this lens where he's always the one who needs help, no matter how much damage he causes in the process, and meanwhile, I'm just dependable, reliable, the one she can fall back on, even if it's at my own expense. After I hang up, I sit there for a while, trying to process what she said. There's this weird mix of anger and resignation swirling around in my head. I know she doesn't mean to put me in this position, and I know she probably thinks she's doing the right thing by helping my brother, but it's like she's blind to the fact that he's just taking advantage of her. And what bugs me the most, she seems blind to the fact that I'm here, always here, doing what I can, and all it earns me is a quick thank you and a pat on the back before she goes back to worrying about him. I try to shake it off and move on with my day, but it's eating at me. And then, as if the universe itself is pushing me to confront this, I get a call from my brother that same evening. Now, this is rare, we don't exactly talk often, and when he does reach out, it's usually because he wants something. But I pick up, figuring maybe he actually wants to talk about Mom and work things out. Wrong. He starts off with a casual, "Hey, how's it going?" But it doesn't take long before he's complaining about how hard things have been for him lately. And then he hits me with it, "Do you think you could loan me a bit, just for a couple of weeks, man? I'll pay you back as soon as I can." I almost laugh. Here's this guy who's been milking our mom for everything he can, now coming to me, probably because he's wrung her dry. I don't lose my temper, but I decide it's time to call him out a bit. "Look, man," I say, "I'm not trying to be harsh, but don't you think maybe it's time you found a better way to manage things? Mom's struggling, and it's tough for her to keep giving you money all the time. I've been helping her out too, but it feels like you're not really pulling your weight here." He doesn't take it well. He gets defensive, starts saying things like, "Oh, so now you're judging me? You don't understand what it's like, and how he's trying to figure things out." It's like listening to my mom talk, honestly, the same excuses, the same deflections. And I realize right then and there that nothing I say is going to make a difference. He's comfortable, he's got Mom to rely on, and if she can't help, he knows I'll be there to catch the slack. I end the call as politely as I can, but the whole thing leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Here I am, bending over backward to keep everything running smoothly, while he gets to waltz through life with no real consequences. And the worst part? My mom lets him. That night, I talk to my wife about everything. I tell her about my conversation with mom, the call from my brother, all of it. She listens patiently, nodding along, and finally, she says, "You've done more than enough for them. It's okay to set boundaries, you know. They'll survive without you." I know she's right, but it's hard to let go. There's this part of me that feels like if I don't help, then I'm abandoning them. I've always been the one to step up, to be there no matter what, and admitting that maybe, just maybe, it's not my responsibility to fix everything, that's tough. But her words stick with me. I start thinking about all the things I've missed out on because of the sense of duty I felt, all the weekends away from my own family, the vacations I've canceled, the nights spent worrying about my mom's finances instead of focusing on my own. And for what? So my brother can keep treating her like his personal ATM? I know something has to change. I can't keep putting myself last, can't keep sacrificing everything for people who only see me as the dependable one. And as much as I hate to admit it, I think it's time I finally start setting some boundaries, even if it's not easy, because at the end of the day, I deserve to live my own life too. So, after that whole conversation with my brother and the talk with my wife, I decide to try something different. I tell myself I'll start setting some boundaries with my mom, just small ones at first. I'm not going to abandon her or anything drastic like that, but I figure it's time to stop jumping at every single call. It starts with me waiting a bit longer to reply to her messages. Normally, the second she texts me, I'm replying, sorting everything out for her as fast as I can. This time, I let a couple of hours go by. I know it sounds small, but for me, that's a big deal, and sure enough, the minute I don't respond right away, she starts sending these little follow-up texts, "Is everything alright? And I hope I'm not bothering you." The guilt creeps in, but I keep telling myself that it's okay to take a breath, that she can wait a little bit. When I finally do reply, I keep it brief. I don't offer to help with anything she didn't directly ask for, and I try to keep the conversation casual. And, surprisingly, she's fine with it. She doesn't push, doesn't ask why I took longer than usual. It's like maybe she can sense that something's shifting, or maybe she's just relieved I'm still there, even if it's in a smaller way. But then, a few days later, the next test comes. My mom calls, and she's got that stressed out tone again, the one that usually leads to her asking for money. She says she's been having trouble covering a few unexpected expenses and asks if I could help out, just this once. Now, I know better than to believe it'll be just this once, but still, I pause. I think about all the times I've bailed her out, all the times I've covered for my brother's financial messes, and I feel that familiar frustration rising up again. So I try something new. I say, "Mom, I can't keep covering for you whenever things come up. Maybe it's time to have a serious talk with him about helping you out more." I'm half expecting her to get defensive or to brush it off, but she goes quiet instead. For a moment, I think maybe I've actually gotten through to her, but then she says, "I don't want to stress him out. He's going through a tough time." It's the same old story. She doesn't want to pressure him, doesn't want to make things harder for him, and here I am, the dependable son who's supposed to just understand and pick up the slack without a fuss. So I take a deep breath and tell her, "Mom, I'm always going to be here for you, but I can't keep doing this alone. It's not fair to expect me to handle everything while he just floats by." She sighs and says she'll think about it, which, let's be honest, is probably her way of saying she won't. After we hang up, I feel a weird mix of emotions. Part of me feels guilty for not immediately stepping in, but there's also this tiny sense of relief, like maybe, for once, I actually set a boundary and stuck to it, even if it wasn't exactly what she wanted to hear. Over the next few weeks, I keep up with the boundaries, trying to find a balance between being there for her and not letting myself get sucked into the same old routine. My mom seems to adjust, though I can tell she's not thrilled. She still calls, still needs help, but I'm keeping it at a manageable level. I'm trying to take my wife's advice and focus more on my own family, and, honestly, it's nice. For the first time in a while, I feel like I'm not completely stretched thin. Then, just when I'm starting to think this might actually work, I get a message from my mom's close friend, someone I haven't spoken to in ages. She says she wants to catch up, but I can tell there's more to it than that. She's not the type to just reach out of the blue. We meet for coffee, and after the small talk, she brings it up. She says, "I thought you should know that your mom's been talking about her will lately. She's making some final decisions about everything." I nod, not thinking much of it, figuring it's just the usual stuff, but then she says, "She's planning to leave everything to your brother." I'm sitting there, trying to keep a straight face, but inside, I feel like I just got hit by a truck. Everything? She's leaving everything to him? After all these years of me being the one who's there for her, taking care of everything, it's all going to him? My mom's friend, seeing my reaction, says, "I thought you should know. I know how much you've done for her, and I thought you deserved to hear it." I don't even know what to say. I just nod, pretending to be fine, but my mind is racing. She's leaving everything to him, the same guy who only shows up when he needs money, who leaves her in a bind every time he's around, who I have to cover for. And me? I'm the one she calls when she's in trouble, the one who's always there to pick up the pieces, and she's giving everything to him? After I leave, I sit in my car, just processing it all. There's this mix of anger and hurt that I can't shake. It's not even about the money, I'm doing fine on my own. It's the fact that, despite everything I've done, she still sees him as the one who deserves it all. She still sees me as the dependable one who doesn't need anything from her, while he's the one she wants to take care of. For the next few days, I try to act like nothing's wrong, but every time I think about it, I feel that same bitterness creeping back. I've sacrificed so much for her, for both of them, really, and it feels like none of it mattered. All those missed family events, all the stress, all the money I've poured into helping her. It's like it's all invisible to her. Finally, I can't take it anymore. I call her, trying to keep my voice steady, and I ask her point blank if it's true that she's leaving everything to him. There's a pause, and then she says, "Well, yes. He needs it more, and you're doing fine, aren't you?" I don't even know how to respond. I sit there, listening to her talk about how she just wants to make sure he's okay, how he's always struggled more, and how she knows I'll be fine. And all I can think is, after all this, she still doesn't see what I've done for her. She's still blinded by this idea that he's the one who needs her most, and I'm just the reliable backup. I don't argue with her. I just tell her that I understand and that I'll still be there if she needs me. But after I hang up, I feel like something's finally snapped inside me. After hanging up with my mom, I just sit there, staring at my phone. There's this weight in my chest that I can't shake, a mix of anger, hurt, and, honestly, a bit of confusion. It feels like everything I've done for her, all the sacrifices and the times I dropped everything to be there, meant nothing. In the end, she's leaving everything to my brother, everything. And here I am, the one who's been the responsible, reliable one, expected to just be okay with it because, according to her, I'm doing fine. The next couple of days are a blur. I go about my usual routine, but everything feels off. I try to ignore it, to tell myself that it doesn't matter, it's just money, right? I'm financially stable, and I don't actually need her inheritance. But it's not about the money. It's about the fact that she sees him as the one who needs it more, that she still sees me as someone who's got everything figured out and doesn't need a thing from her. One night, I'm sitting at the dinner table with my wife, and I finally tell her everything. I tell her about the will, about how my mom's planning to leave everything to my brother. She just listens, nodding along, and then she sighs. "You know," she says, "you've always been there for her. You've been the one keeping everything together, and maybe she's so used to it that she doesn't realize how much it's cost you." Hearing her say that just makes the frustration bubble up even more because, yeah, I've sacrificed so much, all those times I left my own family to take care of my mom, the money I've spent helping her when my brother left her with nothing, the vacations I've skipped because she needed me. And what do I get? Just the role of the dependable son who can fend for himself. I think back to all the times I've watched my mom hand my brother money, excuse his behavior, and praise him for the bare minimum. I've always brushed it off, convinced myself that it didn't matter. But now it's like all of it has built up, and I can't ignore it anymore. A few days later, my mom calls again. She's chatting away, telling me about how my brother came by to visit and helped her fix a few things around the house. She goes on about how nice it was to see him, how he's trying so hard to get his life together, and I'm sitting there, listening to her go on about him like he's some kind of saint. And I can't take it anymore. "Mom," I say, interrupting her mid-sentence, "can we talk about the will?" There's a pause, and I can tell I've caught her off guard. She stammers a bit, then says, "Oh, well, I didn't think it was something we needed to discuss. You're doing well, aren't you?" I take a deep breath, trying to keep my tone calm. "It's not about the money, Mom. It's about the fact that you're leaving everything to him after all the times I've been the one helping you." She sighs, like I'm the one causing her trouble. "He needs it more than you do. You have a family, a steady job, a life that's going well. He's still struggling." I feel this wave of frustration, but I push through it. "And you don't think that maybe, just maybe, I'd like some recognition for everything I've done, for all the times I've been the one there for you, the one taking care of things?" There's a long silence. Finally, she says, "I didn't realize you felt that way. But he's always been, well, he's always been different. He needs more support, and I just assumed you didn't. Hearing that hits harder than I expected. It's like she's saying I don't need her, that I've never needed her, and all I'm good for is to be the one who's there when no one else is. I tell her I need to go, that I'll talk to her later, and I hang up. That night, I sit down and really think about what I want. I've been bending over backward for my mom and my brother, but for what? They've both made it clear that they see me as the one who doesn't need anything, the one who can take care of himself. And, honestly, I'm tired of it. The next time my mom calls, she's asking me if I can help with another little expense. Apparently, my brother's been struggling again, and she's short on cash. I take a deep breath, and for the first time, I tell her, I can't keep doing this, Mom. She's silent, like she didn't expect me to actually say no. Then she asks, what do you mean? I continue, I can't keep bailing you out every time he takes from you. I have my own family, my own responsibilities, and I can't keep putting you and him ahead of that. She starts to protest, going on about how it's just this once and how he's trying so hard, but I don't let her finish. Mom, he's been trying for years. I've been the one there for you every time, but if you're going to keep giving everything to him, maybe he should be the one to take care of you. The line goes quiet, and for a moment, I think maybe I've finally gotten through to her. But then she says, I didn't realize you felt this way. I thought you understood, and that's when it hits me, she's never going to change. She'll always see him as the one who needs her most, and she'll always see me as the one who's strong enough to handle everything without a second thought. After that call, I make a decision. I'll still be there for her, but I'm done putting my life on hold to clean up their messes. I'm done sacrificing my own family time, my own money, just to keep them afloat. I'm finally setting the boundary that I should have set years ago. Over the next few weeks, she tries to reach out a few times, asking for help here and there, but each time, I stick to my guns. I tell her I'm busy, that she should ask my brother instead. She doesn't like it, and I can tell she's frustrated, but I know it's for the best. For the first time in a long time, I feel this sense of relief. I'm finally letting go of the weight I've been carrying for years, the weight of always being the dependable one. And yeah, it's bittersweet. There's a part of me that wishes things were different, that maybe she'd see the value in everything I've done. But now, I'm focused on my own family, my own life. I'm not waiting for her or my brother to appreciate what I've done because I know that day is never coming. And as hard as it is to accept, it feels good to finally put myself first. I don't know what the future holds with them, but for now, I'm okay with that. After keeping some distance from my mom and brother, I think things might finally be settling down. But then, out of nowhere, I get a call from my aunt. She's someone I don't talk to often, so it takes me by surprise when she starts the conversation with, I'm so sorry for what's happening with your mom. Confused, I ask what she means, and that's when she drops it. Apparently, my mom's been going around telling everyone that I've abandoned her. According to my aunt, my mom has been spinning stories to the family, saying that I've left her to fend for herself, that I've turned my back on her, and that she has no one she can rely on except, of course, my brother. She's making it sound like I'm heartless, too busy with my own life to care for her. And to add insult to injury, my brother's been backing her story, making little comments to family members about how he's doing everything he can to support her, even though we both know he barely lifts a finger. I feel this familiar anger boiling up, but it's mixed with something new, betrayal. All this time, I'd been breaking my back to help her, doing whatever I could to keep things together, and she's going around acting like I just cut her off. I realize it's not just about getting more from the family. It's about guilt-tripping me back into my old role. She wants me to hear these rumors, to feel guilty, and to come running back like nothing's ever happened. But this time, I'm done. Instead of calling my mom or brother directly, I decide to take a different approach. I reach out to a few family members individually, the ones who've been most supportive and have seen a glimpse of the situation over the years. I explain everything, laying out the full story, the sacrifices I've made, the money I've spent to keep her afloat, the countless times I dropped everything to help her out, and how my brother has only ever been around to take. I even share a few texts and emails as proof, showing how often she's leaned on me and how my brother's barely done anything to help. The response is immediate. Family members start putting two and two together, realizing how much they've been misled. My mom's story starts to unravel, and within a week, word has spread through the family that things aren't exactly as she and my brother have made them out to be. My aunt calls me again, saying she had no idea it was that bad, and a few others apologize for believing the sob story without hearing my side. My brother tries to do some damage control, but by now, it's too late. People have seen the proof, and no one's buying his "I've been the supportive one" act. My mom doesn't contact me directly, but through the grapevine, I hear she's furious. She's upset I exposed her to the family, As if I'm the one who betrayed her, not the other way around. With everything out in the open, I finally feel free. I don't need to justify my boundaries anymore, and I'm not constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next guilt trip. I cut ties with both of them, making it clear that I won't be part of their games anymore. My phone is quiet for the first time in years, and I'm actually able to focus on my own life, my own family, without constantly feeling pulled back into the chaos. But despite everything, I still feel a pang of guilt, knowing my mom might struggle financially now that I'm not around to bail her out. So I decide to set up a small, anonymous monthly deposit into her bank account, just enough to cover essentials. It's not much, and she'll never know it's from me, but at least I can sleep a bit easier, knowing she won't be left completely high and dry. And in a way, it's a relief. I'm able to help her without letting myself get pulled back into her manipulative tactics, without giving her the satisfaction of knowing I'm still there in the background. I'm doing it on my terms this time, not because she pressured me into it. As time goes on, the family drama fades. My brother tries to reach out a couple of times, probably hoping to rekindle things now that he's lost his main source of financial support, but I ignore him. The rest of the family respects my decision to step back, and for the first time, I feel truly free. I don't have to play the role of the dependable one anymore. I'm just me, and that's enough.